Here we are again in the barn. It's the 31st of January. I am 31 years old now. I've got the motor disassembled in the F-150. I have the Corvette reassembled. It's still got issues. I'm in here because I'm going to pour a little bit more antifreeze in it and continue to play with that little conundrum. I've moved things around. I have a front clip for the Firebird. I have a new motor for the Firebird. I got to get the starter looked at on the Camaro. And then I'll probably put that engine back in the Silverado. Really what I'm out here doing is I was changing the oil in my Caprice, which is my daily driver because everything else I've got is kind of busted. Now I've got a lot of stuff out here in the barn. The barn really isn't a subject of a lot of my videos. It's just a thing that I have, and a very messy thing that I have. The barn is a 30-foot wide by 50-foot long by, I think it's 11, maybe 12 feet to the rafters. I really bought my house because of the barn. It's been a constant thing in my life. I have more projects and things than I have time to finish or even work on by myself. But at the time that I bought it, I had a cousin who was my best friend that passed away, and that's kind of slowed me down on a lot of the things that I do. The sheer amount of things that are in here is ridiculous. I got leftovers from projects past. That's a 1500cc Suzuki motorcycle motor and transmission. There's a friend of mine gave me a set of headers off of his funny car, and that's those. The first motor that Matthew and I tore apart, that's one of the headers, or exhaust manifolds. The collection of lawnmower blades for my John Deere's. A table that I thought I was going to fix, but I'm probably just going to burn. A Kawasaki that an elderly gentleman gave me. And he also gave me at the same time this Yamaha. Both of these run. However, finding fuel tanks for them has been a chore. A dirt bike that we got as a deal, and then a motorcycle that another elderly gentleman gave me. I have a lot of people who do a lot of nice things for me. My 1992 Camaro I bought as a parts car, and that's basically all it is a parts car. It was a 25th anniversary edition V8 automatic T-topped all option car. My dirt bike is a very big 125, but it will do about 80 miles an hour or so. And then another motorcycle that somebody gave me, a collection of tires that I'm probably going to get rid of. If anybody needs some really aggressive military mud terrains, I have some of those. The 99 Firebird, actually, yeah, it's so late in 99 that it was a 2000 year model. V6, came from the factory with 3-inch exhaust. The W, as close as you could get to being a WS6 while still being a V6. It has the V8 suspension package, posi traction rear end, high performance V6 engine, T-tops. Wasn't automatic. I'm currently debating about making it a manual. But I have the LS swap cradle for it. And many other things. The door from a very bad day that came off of my Silverado The Silverado engine, the Vortec 350 right there, it ran. It ran fine. Just there was a hiccup in the engine, or in something with the computer, that it would advance the timing to the engine to the point that it would just backfire when it tried to start. I tried everything I could. It's got a new timing chain. It's got everything inside the block was fine. It just would not start. So I went with a carburetor on it instead of fuel injection system and drove it for about 3 or 4 or 5,000 miles before it developed some weird leak into the antifreeze into the oil. I got a set of 305 heads here that I may take off and have rebuilt and put in the Caprice. Or I might take these Tuneport injected steel heads and put them in the Caprice. There's a 1986 Corvette one-piece rear main block. And a 400 crank so I can make myself a 383 at some point. The barn is always a wreck because I spend more time getting into projects than I do getting out of them. I know, ADD. Here's the 5.4 motor for my truck that is just a huge wreck. I was going to rebuild it, but I don't like taking a motor apart and not putting new timing chains in it. But the issue with timing chains is also gears, and nobody wants to sell a timing chain and gear set for a modular V8. The truck's an XLT Triton. This is a decent truck. It's had its fair share of run-ins, and it's straight all the way to the bed. But that's a quick trip around the projects in the barn.